Ready? Play.
Hello guys, long time no see, sort of, on a watch along at least, I think. Of course, we did the ATP Weekly with Mario on Monday, but I think a stream with me hasn't really appeared for the past week or so, if I remember correctly. But anyway, we will be watching Matteo Berrettini against Alejandro Tabilo today. Of course, this is the second round in Kitzbühel, third match on center court. Earlier today, we already had Yannick Hanfmann beat Gustavo Heide and Nicolas Moreno de Alboran defeating Lucas Neumeier. And now, yes, Tabilo, the second seed, formerly top 20 just a week ago or something like that, but right now 21. Matteo on a 6-match winning streak. Some of that, of course, has been tie breaks. He's won last 6 he's played, but it's not like his level hasn't been phenomenal. 12 sets won in a row. Gstaad, one of his favorite events. Kitzbühel, he's only played once, actually, and that was also when he was trying to go back-to-back. Back in 2018, he won Gstaad and then tried to go for it in Kitzbühel, but lost in the quarterfinals. However, this time maybe he will complete the altitude clay double. Who knows? In fact, if he wins today, the draw will open up because in the quarterfinals awaiting him is Nicolas Moreno de Alboran, whom I already mentioned. And I think after that it will be Hanfmann or Sebov Vid. So this half of the draw has kind of blown up, if you may. And yeah, I think Matteo would have a phenomenal chance to get another final, maybe even the title, if basically he is going to beat Tabilo today, which is a big if. And if you remember how it was going for Berrettini earlier this year when he was trying to go for back-to-back titles, generally speaking, it was a bit rough, right? I mean, he tried, well, not back-to-back titles, but back-to-back weeks after Phoenix. He tried in Miami, but looked horrible against Andy. Then he won Marrakesh and tried in Monte Carlo, looked horrible against Kecmanovic. Then after Stuttgart, of course, when he made the final and lost to Draper, he also tried in Halle and he lost in the second round to Marcos Giron, if memory serves right. Also looked very tired. So, well, you would think that after 5 straight set wins in Gstaad, he should still have something left for Kitzbühel. But I mean, we'll find out this match really. Like this is the key round for him, I think. And so far, it's Tabilo getting that first game. There was a brief delay here, sort of, when Matteo was trying to argue a ball mark, but then before the umpire even sort of inspected it, a close up, he just wiped it off, because it was indeed, that was down the tee ace from the Chilean, and he gets that first game. Obviously, we are expecting lots of easy holds here. We are expecting a very serve-dominated match, given we are on altitude clay. It's not quite as high, I think, as Gstaad. Gstaad is over 1,000. Here it's like 700, depending on, well, I mean, some parts of Kitzbühel are even over 1,000, but I don't think the club is. But anyway, yeah, it's much faster than usual clay. So certainly we are expecting a match that is likely going to be very much serve-oriented. Matteo yesterday, 2 tiebreaks against Pavel Kotov. In Gstaad, he also won 2 tiebreaks against Felix, right? I think, and also 1 tiebreak against Stefanos, also 1 tiebreak earlier in the week somewhere. The final, it was kind of like the only match he really dominated, but you know, he's been winning. He's been on a winning streak, and definitely these conditions are very good for his game. In fact, right now he already has more clay titles than grass court titles, which might be a surprise, but then again, of course, he plays more on clay than he does on grass. Just because of how, you know, grass is such a small part of the tour. Still no hardcourt titles to his name, Matteo Berrettini. Will it be something that he will change potentially, you know, in the latter half of the year, the indoor season, for example? Who knows? I mean, his form has been excellent, so the opportunities are there, I think, for him to potentially get that milestone as well. Mallorca King of Grass versus King of Clay, but which one is which? I'm between them. I mean, Tabilo is actually kind of at his best on the hard courts to me, but yeah, it's super close. Obviously, both of them can play on all surfaces. It's kind of it's wild that Berrettini still doesn't have that title. Let me say that. although clearly the natural surfaces for his slice, for his ability to be like inventive as well, it's also a great fit. And Tabilo, it just doesn't matter whatsoever, right? Which surface he plays on. Of course, because he's Chilean, people just automatically assume he's a clay specialist. But as we have mentioned many times on the show, Tabilo was actually born in Toronto and has spent a lot of his junior career in Canada, where clay courts are rare, and I'm not even sure if they exist really. So basically, he spent a lot of his junior days even representing Canada. Snehil, yeah, I'm sure. Yes, absolutely. I know which match you're watching. It's a good one, Martinez Nagal for sure. I am stuck. Oh, my camera. Well, camera is at least well, you can still hear me. That's a good thing. Will I be able to fix it? I will check, because I actually, well, it's kind of a technical issue for me. I over the years of using my camera, it has kind of.
If you need to log out and log back in, we can try that, Damien. I'm here.
I will try to do this without it, but well, we will find out.
My stream, of course, is a point or two behind. Okay, Damien's back.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, if it happens again, well, it's obviously not a big deal on a watch along like this. I mean,
I just want to say welcome, Damien, to the Twitter. We've got Twitter people back. Elon Musk put the squeeze on us because basically he said, oh, in fact, he called me up and said, oh, you can't keep doing these streams on Twitter. You're going to have to pay for it. So here we are.
And did you pay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I actually thought of sort of suggesting it to you, that you probably should. I think it's been a pretty good boost of, let's say, just the engagement and well, engagement maybe not as much as just like pure numbers, and you want to get to as many people as possible, obviously. Definitely. I don't know how expensive it is. I know, like, for my uses, I never really considered Twitter Premium, because
to be honest with you, I still would have probably avoided it and I was just going to avoid it for as long as possible, and it might have been another 6 to 12 months, but this has forced my hand, which of course is what Mr. Musk wants to do, and of course I'm sure that's talking tennis is top of his mind.
Yeah, I think that's a decision that needed to be made. I definitely agree about that. For me personally, as I said, I mean, my private account, I'm fine with it being non-premium. It has some benefits, of course, like even more sort of like more people see your tweets or comments if you go premium. But well, it's not important enough to me. I think enough people see my tweets as it is. But for an account like this, where the streaming on Twitter has been a big help, sure, that's kind of needed right now. Elon has done some great work with Twitter. We love you, Elon. But nah, still, I think overall some of his impact has been a bit of a negative rather than positive in terms of the overall balance. But anyway, let's focus on Tabilo Berrettini, as we have another easy hold for the Chilean. I think there was actually more play on the Berrettini first hold, but that was when I was fixing my camera, so I was a bit out for a second. And Snehi talking about the long game at the beginning of the second set in Nagal Martinez. I think Sumit was pretty far up in the opening set there, right? Like 1-4, or I mean 4-1 or something like that. But then eventually didn't end up claiming it, which might end up hurting him. Sorry, I'm just laughing because someone sent me a GIF of that Jerome Kim celebration in Zug a second ago, which was literally the Ben Shelton one, of the phone. And well, it's always funny, especially when someone kind of random does that. I remember when, of course, the US Open just finished, and I was watching the Szczecin Challenger just the week after. It's always the week after the US Open. Flavio Cobolli, after one of his matches, did that. I can't remember which match it was. He lost to Kopriva in the quarters, so it must have been his second round. I think it might have been like another Italian or Argentinian player, but I don't remember by now. But anyway, let's see what Matteo can cook up here. Tabilo is debuting in Kitzbühel, and in fact, he's actually the top 2 seed at an ATP Tour event for the first time in his career. But well, will it happen more to him? Sort of. I mean, he's dropping some challenger points towards the end of the year. But he's gained so much this year already. Maybe he will stick around in that top 20-ish range for a while. We'll see. Matteo is still unseeded in this event, but he is back in the top 50. And if he goes deep in Kitzbühel, he's already gonna be down, to maybe even like 40-ish or something like that. It's even technically possible for Matteo to be a seed for the U.S. Open. Like it's not outrageous to think about this. He could get this title. It would be very impressive because he's literally played like 6, 7 events this year. But well, Phoenix, Miami, Monte Carlo, Marrakesh. Then I think he was out again. Stuttgart, Halle, Wimbledon. Well, so it's his 9th. So yeah, I guess he's played a few by now. But yeah, still definitely not as heavy of a schedule as most other players. Well, because he started mid-March and because he also had that big gap between Monte Carlo and the grass season. Ooh, that could have been a phenomenal shot from Tabilo here, but he tries to go for it down the line. Forehand pass doesn't make it. Tabilo, of course, at the Olympics next week. He's going to be playing alongside Nicolas Jarry in the doubles as well. Kinda one of the more maybe wildcard pairings that could actually do damage, right? I mean, Jarry Tabilo doesn't sound half bad. I was actually writing up a bit of a men's doubles Olympic preview just an hour ago or something like that. I did not mention them in that article, although I was thinking about it. I was considering it. But you can't mention everybody, and well, the lineup in general is definitely kind of random in the sense that if Benjamin Hassan and Hadi Habib make the quarters, I don't think anyone is going to be like, oh wow, that was not a possibility. Of course, it will be a relatively big story given their rankings and sort of how they got there as well, and for the country of Lebanon. But yeah, I don't think it would be unexpected. So basically, any pairing in the Olympics men's doubles will be dangerous. From Italy, of course, we have Bolelli, Vavassori, and Sinner Musetti. No Matteo, but well, his rise kind of happened a bit too late for that. Ooh, this might be a tricky game for Tabilo now. Love 15, he tries to serve and volley and doesn't catch that, with Berrettini finding a nice backhand return kind of at the, at the belly of Tabilo, if you may. Just finding it pretty decent, good pace down the middle, and that often can be a very tricky volley to play if you're approaching. Ooh, I thought Tabilo might have made that serve, but apparently not. So it's a second serve love 30 down. Berrettini will consider this an opportunity, and he is in the rally. However, he is really made to run here from corner to corner, and eventually the Tabilo forehand hits the baseline. Berrettini not quite able to parry it with his backhand slice. Some really good depth from the Chilean in this rally here. I mean, he was spreading the court, really going from corner to corner a couple of times. Pretty decent on the defense from Berrettini as well. Not moving like a tanker, like at the beginning of this year, really. Again, he's in the point. Berrettini Tabilo obviously keeping the ball at the Berrettini backhand if he can. But eventually, it's actually the Matteo forehand that leaks an error. Maybe, once he got out of that backhand jail, maybe once he got out of that backhand corner, he was like, okay, this is my shot. So this is what I gotta take, sort of, if the ball is finally at my forehand. Some players still don't think against Berrettini. Like yesterday, Pavel Kotov approached to the forehand so much. But Tabilo seems to be a little bit better in that tactical department here, so far at least. And he finds an ace as well, so 40-30. This could have been a very dangerous game, but can he just close it out here and say, the ball's in your court to Mr. Berrettini? And yes, 2 aces back to back, both out wide, but of course on different sides. 4 aces from Mr. Tabilo already. We had John earlier in the chat saying Tabilo a big server with a question mark. I think he has already answered that question. Pretty much. Nagal was 1-4 and 5-3 serving and lost 4 games in a row. Oh, so he was 5-3 as well. Oh, okay. I didn't even realize. It's a crazy long game still. Me and Gokap for the Olympic draw tomorrow. Maybe me producing, but I will be en route to Portugal. When is the draw? And also, is it watchable, or are we just going to be sort of waiting for it to show up? These are big questions. 11 a.m. Central European. Well, yeah, sure, I suppose. I wonder if it's gonna pop up like literally then, or is it going to be like a ceremony or something? Hopefully, it just pops up literally 11 a.m. We go live the second it's released. Yeah, I guess 11 a.m. is doable for me. So sure. The match has already been 1 hour 45 minutes long. It's 2-2 in the second set, says Nahil. That's about Nagal Martinez, of course. That's on the second court in Kitzbühel, which basically means that that court will be a bit delayed compared to center, especially as Berrettini Tabilo so far, they've just been sort of like rapid firing through their games. I think on the second court in Kitzbühel, we'll still have Gaston Carballes Baena today and also Galan Diaz Acosta. Both matches that can be pretty long. And then at the end, of course, on center after Berrettini Tabilo, we will have Baez against Tirante. They were hoping for Dominic Thiem to be there, but Dominic Thiem will actually be there because he will wrap up center court action in doubles. They actually have to finish their match from Monday because they were 7-6, 3-5, I think, or something like that on Monday. And then they actually skipped Tuesday. So it's a pretty unusual occurrence, I think, when you play a certain part of the match on Monday, then Tuesday you don't play at all, and Wednesday you do. Well, sometimes it happens if it's raining all day on Tuesday, right? But in this case, it's not because of the rain. It's just Thiem was supposed to play with Tirante in that evening session, if you may, and basically that's what caused it. 30 love, Berrettini trying this very loose forehand drop shot. Not a big fan, but well, it landed like middle of the net. But well, maybe he can afford it. 30 love up. Thinking if Berrettini has played any left-handers recently in that Gstaad run. I don't know if it's that big a deal, really, as his backhand is holding up pretty okay so far. But what's not holding up okay here is the way he positioned himself for the +1 forehand here. I mean, he was hoping to run around his backhand, of course, but just not enough time on it, really, given the depth from Tabilo. And now we are just 2 points away from the break, technically. It's a big serve. He doesn't really do much with it, but Tabilo will throw out this backhand. I think he could have parried that Berrettini shot a lot better. Per would have done it. No, it's not even that close. Parried and paired. Never mind. 40-30 Berrettini. Gonna have to do it on the second serve. From what I remember from some Gstaad stats, he was actually doing very well in his second serves there as well. Not only the first was quite a monster. Well, obviously the second serve wasn't doing that much damage in itself, but he was just winning a lot of points after it anyway. But yeah, here it's actually a very nice one, deep into the service box at Tabilo, who tries to maneuver around it, try to find the forehand, but he cannot do that. And it's 3 games all. Both players now with a bit of a scare in a way. I mean, Tabilos was obviously bigger with the love 30. Berrettini now, yeah, I mean, it was not that big a scare, but still it was like a game where you could imagine Tabilo putting more pressure on him. But yeah, so far just 6 games here. This definitely will not be a match going at the pace of Martinez Nagal. This will certainly be progressing at a much more rapid pace. And even if we get purely tie breaks here, it will not be the longest match you have ever seen. That I can promise you, even though nothing is sure in tennis, and even though we can never really know what we're gonna get from a match. Tennis is like a box of chocolates, right? Tabilo serving a nice chocolate down the tee here. It's an ace for 30 love, so I think it's like 5 of them by now. What's happening here? Berrettini caught that return, but he was kind of like sluggishly moving towards it. I don't know. I think he was still like questioning whether the serve was in. And yeah, Tabilo just puts the ball away and it's 40 love. So, okay. I'm not really sure what happened there. I think Matteo was just in 2 minds whether to even catch the ball or not. But anyway, it's just looking like another easy hold for the Chilean. They've actually played once in 2021, back in the October Indian Wells edition. Of course, at the time, Tabila was still like what, around 100 maybe in the rankings, or maybe even actually I think he might have been even out of the top 100 because he probably got there during the golden swing of 2022, if memory serves right. So, but he was definitely already playing pretty well and actually had a very good hardcourt summer or like hardcourt fall that year. Lexington, he beat Kokinakis in a great match. I think made the final. Puerto Vallarta, he was also very deep in. So it was a part of the Tabilo rise, sort of the first rise, before the second one came last year. And Berrettini defeated him in the second round, I think, in Indian Wells there in the October edition. But of course, at the time, it was a different landscape. Matteo was a big, big favorite of that match. Right now, not, I mean, it's not as obvious, right? But given his form, I still think he probably is the favorite. I actually didn't look at the odds, but I will do it now. And yeah, maybe even a little bit too much, honestly. I mean, 4-3 Tabilo, and still Matteo is the big favorite, despite the games going so like evenly so far. So yeah, maybe even a bit too much in my book, but in my books. But yeah, that's kind of how highly people think of Berrettini right now, and they're not wrong either. It's just really only a question of his physicality to me in this event, in terms of whether he can go deep, because game wise he definitely could. The conditions are pretty much the same as in Gstaad, so it's not like that should be a big difference maker for him in any shape or form. So yeah, he's absolutely a threat, especially if, as I said earlier, the draw kind of keeps opening up. And next round, Moreno de Alboran, that's a very good, well, I don't know if it's a good matchup per se, but just the difference in quality there seems to be pretty high. And actually same with Seibovild Hanfmann, although Hanfmann, of course, a remarkable altitude clay player, a former finalist from Kitzbühel 2020, and Gstaad as well 2017. Seibovild, just looking for some sort of a massive run at the ATP Tour, but we know how good he can be in an individual match, so things won't be easy for Matteo even if he's healthy. So far, he needs to get through Tabilo, though, and we definitely should not be treating this as a foregone conclusion, as some maybe are. After all, Alejandro Tabilo, so many runs this year already. Titles on all 3 surfaces, if we count the ATP Challenger Tour and his Aix-en-Provence success. I know that if we only look at the main tour, it's been just Mallorca and Auckland, but also the semifinals in Rome, of course, beating Djokovic along the way, number 1 Djokovic at the time. And Aix-en-Provence, I think we can pretty much count it as well as a tourish event, given how strong the draw was. Although I think actually Jaume Munar's half of the draw was much stronger than Tabilo's. Anyway, Matteo Berrettini, what are you doing here? Missing this +1 forehand into the open court, and it's 15-30. I think this game also started with a double fault from the Italian, so a couple of rough points, especially on the deuce side here, but on the odd side so far, he's supplying the aces, 2 of them back to back on that side of the court at least, so not technically back to back. Keep showing us these guys from the Berrettini team in their boss outfits. Let's see who's the boss today on the court. So far, it's pretty unclear, but Berrettini finds a nice serve here. This time, the +1 forehand into the open court is not missed. So 40-30 as we are edging closer and closer to just yet another simple hold for one of the players in today's match. Matteo ace out wide, 3 aces in this game. It's still to 30, but it's 3 aces. So basically couldn't do much about it, Tabilo, despite being 30-15 up. Gokar is keen. There's a question for me on the screen. I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't notice that. Pedro endurance issues. He actually had something in Hamburg when he was playing Hugo Blanchet in the second round. He had a few MTOs. I didn't watch the match, but he had a few MTOs, and he was 5-2 down in the third before winning the last 5 games. But he was actually struggling physically in Hamburg. So yeah, I think he might have some issues. Yes. I was expecting him to lose after that Blanchet match because of that in Hamburg, but he actually ended up beating France Cerundolo in the quarterfinals. So I'm not sure how serious it is, but what we know is that last week he was not 100%, at least in one of his matches, which can definitely reappear, right? If he's still playing and if he's still basically like playing all the time. I think Martinez at first was one of the guys who was not going to be at the Olympics, right? And he was not going to be at the Olympics because of Nadal getting that protected ranking in. And of course, the Olympic rules only allowing 4 players in. But since then, we've had withdrawals of Carreño Busta and of Davidovich Fokina. So it's not a problem anymore. I think Martinez and Munar are now in. Carreño Busta is, of course, still going to the Olympics, but is only going to play doubles with Marcel Granollers. Not a big fan of that partnership, I have to say. Like, isn't Carreño Busta just gonna bring Granollers down? But then again, who was he supposed to play with? I suppose they just don't have that many Spanish specialists at the moment. Martos Gornes? Maybe. Would they get in with Martos Gornes though? Number 2 and like number 100? Maybe not. Maybe they wouldn't even. So no, actually, sorry. Granollers can choose whoever he wants to, right? Because he's in the top 10. So yeah, I guess he must have just enjoyed Carreño Busta, prospect of playing with Carreño Busta more than with Martos Gornes or someone like that. But yeah, I don't know. Not convinced they can be a medal threat, to be honest. 5-4 Tabilo. Anyway, still so far not much action, to be honest. 27 minutes for 9 games. So you can see this is really progressing at a rapid pace. Altitude clay is definitely an acquired taste, I would say. If someone doesn't like fast courts in general, then it's definitely not the type of clay that he's gonna enjoy. Me personally, I think it's a nice combination. Sort of, I like all of these like somewhat slow, somewhat fast events in terms of just like a certain aspect of the surface making it slow, but at the same time a certain aspect of the surface making it faster. Like all the slower indoor hard courts we have, or yeah, it's like a faster clay court. That's kind.
I'm sure he'll be back with us in a few minutes. We've got Berrettini here serving 4-5. As Damien was just saying, the altitude clay does make a difference. Hey, Keen, nice to see you in the chat. I'll let Damien respond to your question. But Keen, I think you know that Damien and I are off to Porto next week. So that's exciting. Hopefully Aziz Dugas will be there. I say hopefully he's on the entry list. But I did ask him a week ago, or a bit less, if he was going to be there. And he said he thinks so. So we will see. Will Berrettini be in the tournament after today? Will he win the first set? Well, Damien's going to see us through. He's back.
And I'm back. My connection died for a second. Anyway, yeah, it's always funny when I rejoin if something like that happens, and then I actually get myself onto the stream, but at the same time John does the same, and then we have like this battle of who does that, and unfortunately most of the time it just ends up that one of us adds me to the stream, and then the other, because it's like a split second thing, takes me out. I think that's what happened just now. Anyway, Jikui, yeah, definitely was not expecting that. I remember watching him like years ago against Oliveira when he got a nice challenger win in Asia. I don't remember what the event was, some Chinese challenger at the end of 2019. But yeah, this year has actually been his strongest probably, and this challenger 50 in Segovia is actually something he could win. That's the draw quality there. It's not that tough. Love Berrettini here, trading forehands down the middle. Now, of course, Tabilo is going to switch to that pattern. He's trying to really hunt with Berrettini at the backhand corner. I think Matteo is pointing the mark, though, that it was out. So it looks like this first pressure game for Berrettini will actually not end up being that dramatic or anything. Yeah, it's just, it lands wide for sure. So Berrettini's 40 love here. And actually, it's just going to be 5-all relatively quickly as well. The player's still moving at that 3-minute per game pace, more or less. And so far, we haven't seen any breakpoints. Berrettini 6-0 in tie breaks in the last 6 matches. So, well, it would be fitting if he played another here. And also, it's kind of funny because he lost 3 tie breaks to Sinner at Wimbledon. He basically lost that match because he couldn't perform in the tiebreaks. But in Gstaad and Kitzbühel, that's how he's winning. It's a drop shot from Tabilo, but Berrettini should have done more with this. Kind of reminds me of the Murray match point that he missed at the Austrian Open, when he's like close to the net, has a high ball, but just ends up losing the plot a bit. This is different because there he was trying to pass Murray. Here Tabilo was actually on the baseline, but yeah, so much time, so many options for Matteo, and that will actually cost him, I think, because yeah, just getting that first point in the game obviously can be so crucial. It's another drop shot from Tabilo. And again, Berrettini puts it into the net, even though there was not that much pressure. I mean, this time at least Tabilo was like sprinting towards the net. So you could probably say that the net presence of the Chilean kind of caused this error. I would not sort of disagree if you said that this was forced in a way. But yeah, still probably should have done a better job here, Berrettini. So 30 love up Tabilo now. And it's an ace down the tee as well. It's a good ace contest so far between the two. I'm not actually sure who's leading after both had 2 or 3 aces in one game. I think it still might be Tabilo by just a tiny bit, but Matteo probably is closer now. Yeah, they actually showed it now on screen. 6-4 Tabilo. So Berrettini had 3 in one game, but only 1 in the other 4. But anyway, Tabilo serving for the 6-5 lead. Berrettini's return is going to be out. Tabilo still points out the mark. I don't think that Berrettini wants the chair umpire to check it out. 6-5 Tabilo. And once again, after the break, Matteo will be serving at 5-6. Aside from Nadal and Alcaraz, are there any other exciting doubles matchups? I mean, if you're looking for something like Nadal Alcaraz, then you probably want like Fritz Paul or Medvedev Safiullin, but personally I don't think these are exciting at all. In terms of the doubles, I mean, Mektic Pavic coming back to the partnership after 1 year. Of course, they won like 17 titles in a 2.5 year partnership. So that's just pretty insane. And of course, they are also the defending champions at the Olympics. Some very usual pairings like Borelli, Vavasori, and Kraviec Puets, which just look super strong because they play with each other all the time. Some countries like Great Britain or the United States, they have pairs like Ram Krajicek or Salisbury Skapski, where basically they just play with each other Davis Cup only. But right now they have to be at the Olympics, but it's still elite doubles players, just in different duos than usual. I think Machac Pavlashek will be a joy to watch for sure. What else do we have? The Tsitsipas brothers. Borges Cabral, I can't quite say the reunion because they played in Gstaad, but they're actually 0-4 for the year. But we know how dangerous they can be, and sort of the chemistry is always off the charts. I like the possibility of seeing Hasse and Royer as well alongside each other. That's kind of fun. But yeah, I think in men's doubles, probably the biggest story outside of Nadal, Alcaraz, and I'm not even going to mention Murray Evans as well, but it's probably the reunion of Mektic Pavic. I mean, it's just such a legendary duo that right now is going to be returning to their previous arrangement for just one event, and we'll see how it works. If the chemistry after all this time still means anything, and if they're gonna just hit it off like they did. We have to remember that actually before their split in 2023 they weren't doing that well, so it's not like their 2.5 years were just fire all the time. But yeah, that might be one of the stories as well. Sinner Musetti, if you're looking for another singles partnership, they're actually the top seeds because Olympic tennis uses singles rankings to do the seeding. On the tour, we have, of course, the singles rankings count for the entry lists and stuff, but they do not count for the seeding. Tabilo Jari, if we're talking about the players involved in this match, that's the doubles pairing that we're going to see from Chile. Unfortunately, no Hurkacz Zielinski. But that's a topic for another day, I guess. That president of the Polish Olympic Committee, by the way, whom I mentioned on the Twitter Spaces yesterday, if anyone was there, I know Keen was, but that president who gave a pretty doubtful interview about Hurkacz and sort of said that, yeah, this is not okay, that he decided to withdraw, has also said many, many different things since then. One of them being that before he came around, which was a year ago, no one had heard of the Polish Olympic Committee. And right now it gets to every single age group, which is just like, yeah, it's kind of delusional. For one thing, of course, Olympic committees are pretty well known in every country, but if his definition of like getting to every single age group is just giving controversial interviews, then yeah, I think he's done that. I mean, I have not heard about literally any action from the Polish Olympic Committee before that interview for a few years. So I guess he really did what he wanted to. Yeah, I hear there's some political stuff there, and he wants to like either candidate for presidency or something like that. Like that, it's a mess. Anyway, as I said, topic for another day, even though I just spent 30 seconds or more talking about it. Anyway, let's get to the tiebreak. Berrettini, Tabilo, still no breakpoints, 12 holds. Let's see. Matteo Berrettini on a great run in the tiebreaks, 6 in a row. Can Alejandro Tabilo put a stop to it? So far, it's a good start for him. It's an unreturned serve. It's exactly what you want in the tiebreak. Just 3 points coming in your way. Coming your way, I should have said. Tabilo, when I'm thinking tiebreak, I'm unfortunately for him thinking that tiebreak against Zverev in Rome, but hopefully it won't be the same. Of course, it kind of can't be the same because Berrettini is just a very different player. Like, he's not going to be as solid as Zverev was there and just kind of ask the question, can you hit through me? Because, well, if he did that, he would probably be hit through. Like, Tabilo can hit through him. Anyway, one point all now as Berrettini finds an ace out wide. This serve is pretty decent too, but he's gonna have to play a rally for it. What a sick backhand from Tabilo. It barely catches the line, keeps him in the point, but we're still playing. Berrettini slicing the ball and getting the error eventually. There was this crazy shot from Tabilo where like he didn't even hit it, properly. He just kind of touched the ball and it went back onto the other side of the court and caught the line. Berrettini still had enough clarity though to slice it back and eventually take the point a few shots later. 2-1 Berrettini, no mini breaks thus far. Berrettini again slicing at the Tabilo backhand. He's gonna slice approach as well, but should be unable to react to this lob. I don't know why he wasn't expecting it whatsoever. Maybe Tabilo just disguised it that well, and on the stream it can be tough to see it, sort of what Matteo was thinking there. But from the feed, it was kind of telegraphed, to be honest, that Tabilo was gonna lob him. But I don't know. Anyway, he gets the point done. Kind of that short slice lob play. In a way, he invited Matteo to pull off something like this. Berrettini isn't really gonna like blast that short backhand cross court and anything like that. He's gonna play a slice approach like this one, or maybe just do something else completely. But probably not going to just blast it away. So it's a good play against Matteo for sure. And he gets rewarded with it. 3-2 now. Last point before the change of ends, and the last point is another unreturned serve for Berrettini. 3 points all, no breaks in the set, no breaks in the tiebreak so far. Yeah, as I said at the very beginning of the stream, this will be quite a singles-oriented match for sure. It's pretty funny, actually. Snacky about that disconnection. Don't forget my pink hat. I mean, if you're in Porto, can you wear an Estoril hat? I don't know. Maybe there's a beef between the two cities. But yeah, as I said to you earlier, that's my only hat, so I kind of don't have another option. Medvedev does not play much doubles, so that it makes it more exciting. Sure, I just don't really think they can be a threat. So yeah, so I don't care. I would much rather watch just like usual doubles pairings actually, but I know it's weird. It's not exactly. There's definitely going to be a lot of singles fans of Medvedev who's going to be tuning in. I will get to the rest of the chat anyway as soon as now we have this great combination from Tabilo, but Berrettini survives the onslaught. I mean, this was Tabilo's point from start to finish, despite it being on the Berrettini serve. We see on replay this wonderful get from Matteo, and actually he gets the error from Tabilo eventually. He played it with his back to the his back against the net, and he is able to just extend this rally one more time, with Tabilo eventually missing the forehand cross court. Very narrow miss, like easily could have been his point anyway. But yeah, that's kind of lucky for Berrettini, I have to say. It's an ace down the tee from Tabilo. 4 games all now, 4 points all now actually, sorry. And well, we are still tied. The entire set has been so close, and so has been the tiebreak. Who's gonna land the first and probably the decisive mini break as well? I mean, so far we haven't had a single one, so it's not outlandish to think that the first mini break here could actually end the tiebreak altogether. Only 43 minutes, despite us being so deep in the first set tiebreak by now. But yeah, that's what you expect from these two on alternate clay. Second serve for Tabilo. Berrettini actually moving backwards rather than upwards. Ooh. Yeah, this could be a tiebreak losing mistake, maybe a match losing mistake. I don't really know. 5 for Berrettini after Tabilo double faults. And as I said, it's not because of the pressure Berrettini sort of applied in any way with his positioning or anything. We know that players can sometimes be forced to go bigger on their second serves because they see the other player is approaching. They see the other player will be trying to attack it. Berrettini just moved even further back. So that was definitely a... Oh my god. Okay, Berrettini still wins the point, but that net court return from Tabilo was pretty dangerous. If he tracked this down, this sort of soft response from Matteo, this could have been a phenomenal shot for Alejandro. But anyway, 6-4 now, 2 set points for Berrettini. But yeah, that double fault was just so uncalled for. So it was just not the moment for it, obviously. If there's ever a moment for a double fault, but maybe there is on like for the love, or when you're leading 5-1, but certainly not in this moment and not when Berrettini wasn't applying any pressure. Tabilo is applying some pressure now, though. But this time when he double faults, Berrettini comes up. When he double faults, when he drop shots, Berrettini comes up with a good response. Tabilo expecting that slice approach cross court, he moves to it very quickly. He tried to anticipate, but he actually didn't get what Matteo was going for at all. So it's the 7th tiebreak, won in a row by the Italian. We see the stats after the first set, pretty much the same on first serve points won, 7-6 in aces for Tabilo. Actually, more points won on second serve as well for the Chilean. So, the stats are maybe even showing, some sort of a small lead for the Chilean. But it's he who made he made the double fault at 4 points all in the tiebreak. And that was literally all she wrote in this set. Like, that was literally the moment that made him lose it. So, yeah, not great. What else? Who are the French putting forward in doubles? We've got Red Bull and Roger Vasselin. And also, I think there's Fils Humbert. Roger Vasselin basically had a choice between Doumbia and Red Bull, and he chose Red Bull out of these two. I don't really have an opinion on that, honestly. I think both of them are fine. They already played Hamburg, and they made the final. So it seems like they clicked right away. This was their first appearance ever. They only lost to Krawiec Płytz, who I mentioned are one of the main favorites. So yeah, I think Red Bull and Roger Vasselin are in the sort of medal contender zone for sure. Yeah, Bopanna Balaji, I don't buy it, to be honest. I mean, Rohan has never been a clay goat in any shape or form, really. That's definitely his worst surface. Balaji, when they played Hamburg, they were just dominated by Schneider-Wallner. I don't know if Balaji will step up enough, especially as the star player is also, just doubtful on clay. There are a few pairings like this, Ebden Pierce, they seem great on paper, but Pierce is not in great form. Who else is there? Granollers, Carreño Busta. Like, I don't think Granollers can carry this team. Bopanna Balaji, I just don't know if Rohan can do it, really. Bopanna is finished, says Keen. I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but certainly on clay, he's not as big a threat to me. Is Iga carrying the flag in the opening ceremony? I actually don't know. I would have to check. Literally don't give a damn about who carries the flag in the Olympic ceremony. Like, I'm there to watch the sport rather than the ceremony. So yeah, and that's also my answer to any golf Eubanks stuff. Like, I saw the video, but it was kind of cringeworthy to me. But yeah, there were a lot of choices potentially. Caitlin Clark, right? Like Simon Biles, you mentioned here, yeah, for the US, but. Oh, singles oriented. Yeah, I want to say serve oriented. Yeah, I was already thinking of doubles at the Olympics, but yeah, exactly. If Berrettini was always fit, where would you place him in the rankings? Top 15, top 10? I don't know, something like that. I think in the current era, in the current landscape of pro men's tennis, I think a top 10, top 15 ranking for him is fine. Top 5 is probably not reachable. Or if it is, then strictly number 5. But right now we have a very strong top 5: Medvedev, Zverev, Alcaraz, Nadal, Sinner, not Nadal, of course, Djokovic, Sinner. So I think that's a very strong top 5. I don't think Matteo realistically could join it, but could he be like number 10, 9? Sure. I don't think it's unrealistic. Hopefully we're going to see. I mean, hopefully he's just going to be healthy from here on to let's say next June, and we're just gonna see where he lands with a healthy year. Is that possible right now? It seems possible. So I think he could actually make the top 15, top 20. What is the field in Porto like? For a challenger 1 to 5, I think it's a little weaker, but it has a lot of players who are like exciting in it. Like it's not just, kind of a random list with players in the top 150, top 200, and you just don't really think there's any story to it. But I mean, yeah, the top seed is Tirante. Then you have Klein, Alice, great stuff. Gasquet, Kukushkin, Pui as well. Of course, you're going to have the Portuguese guys like Faria and Rocha, Moro Cañas, Piros, Blocks as well. I love that he's on that list. Virtanen has pulled out, by the way, and Gabriel De Bru as well. But yeah, it's a pretty weak list for a 1 to 5, but that's mostly because of the scheduling. The scheduling, what I mean by that is that it's the only challenger on hard courts next week in Europe, and then after that you have no challengers on hard courts, the week after. So of course I'll be going to that Kozerki 75 in a couple of weeks as well, and it's pretty much the same. Like the lists aren't that dissimilar. Like the strength is pretty similar. And that's mostly because there's not much in terms of the schedule. Like you can't really do much with Porto. Like if you are a hardcore specialist and you play the Porto 1 to 5, what are you doing next week? I don't know. Like that's kind of the main problem with this. Obviously, I don't mind. Like I still think the list is very interesting, but certainly could be stronger for a 1 to 5 if it was held just the week after, literally, because then some players would choose Porto, then Kozerki, and then US Open, for example. And in that way, it's just for like really hardcore specialists who just wants to play one event on hard courts and then kind of, I don't know, just skip the next one or something like that. So obviously the potential entry list is a little limited by this, I think. But it's not the first time. Like last year, it was the same. They got some nice stories in there. I think Jules Marie had a big run. João Sousa was in the final. Luca Nardi won the title. But it was also like a relatively weak 1 to 5, where some players literally could just get big points that they usually cannot. So maybe if the draw isn't like evenly split this time, we will also get some pretty random runs from players we usually wouldn't expect at this level. Am I annoyed darts isn't at the Olympics? I can't really say that because it was never really a consideration, right? I mean, darts just emerged as a bar game, and obviously the alcohol thing as well has never really resonated with the Olympic committee. I don't think it was ever really, in the talks. I think darts as a sport does not need the Olympics whatsoever. Snooker isn't in the Olympics either, right? And I think that's fine. I can't say I mind. Would it be nice if they could play at the Olympics? Would I watch it if they were playing at the Olympics? Obviously, I mean, I watch anything I can from darts, but yeah, I don't think it needs anything right now, anything like that right now. I mean, darts is still in an incredibly strong place at the moment. Definitely the strongest, I think, since Taylor's retirement, and maybe the strongest ever, in fact, because of Luke Littler. So I don't really think the next step is the Olympics. I think if it ever happens, if there's ever talks about it, sure, but I personally don't feel any need for it. I think the only real benefit of that would just be, for the players, for them to be able to compete for medals for their countries. But it would also run into some issues, like even though darts has gotten so much more international, let's say, I would have to check, but let's say like half the top 32 is English. So, some rules would have to be in place for that to be limited in some way. In table tennis, for example, you only have 2 places for a country in singles, right? Because otherwise the Chinese would just be so dominant. So something like that would have to be involved as well. I don't really know. I don't think it's needed right now at all, and it has never really been a consideration either. So I know there are even people in the darts community who kind of say, no, we don't want that even. So anyway, Berrettini got the first hold, even though it was 30-all, and now he might actually start putting even more pressure on Tabilo. because the first point was a forehand that the Chilean missed behind the baseline. And now he plays a drop shot. This time it's actually Berrettini going for that option that Tabilo was thinking he would try on the set point in the first set. So the slice approach cross court. And Tabilo doesn't get it over the net. So it's love 30. He was already in that situation on one. There was one game in the first set when he was in that situation. He won the next 4 points. Not this time, though. 3 break points. For the first time in the match, someone has break points here, and it's 3 in a row. And it's basically match points for Berrettini in a way, right? I mean, maybe a little early in the second set to say it, but to an extent, like, they could be match points. Just like I said in the first set tiebreak, that like 1 mini break literally could just decide the whole thing. And that's how this match has felt so far. And it's a sloppy game from Tabilo. Although the last counter from Berrettini was actually really good. Ooh, that's rough. Berrettini got that opening for himself with the inside in forehand. I think Tabilo was like fully ready to let the ball go. I don't think he was going to try to take it if it landed in, but it doesn't. It's long. So it's 2 more breakpoints for the Italian now. Can Tabilo just come up with some aces? Not on this occasion. So second serve. Hopefully not a double fault like he did in the first set tiebreak. Well, it's not a double fault. That's one thing. He's got Berrettini on the back foot right away. Again, I'm not too big a fan of the strategy from Berrettini here. Like, he just goes even further back. He rolls the return into the middle of the court. And even though it's a second serve, he allows Tabilo to slap that forehand. I don't know. It's just not really too imposing, right? He just asks the question of Tabilo, and so far the Chilean gets it. But yeah, third breakpoint, it's a second serve again. Maybe this time Berrettini can attack the second serve return a bit more. Well, it will be tough as it's to his backhand, and he frames it completely. Oh my god. Yeah, 3 breakpoints missed in a row, and not a great effort, to be honest. The last 3 rallies from Matteo. As I said earlier, I mean, we can't quite say that that was the match right there, but with the way that this has been progressing, maybe it was. Especially when you have 3 consecutive, and I don't know, maybe you just have to risk it a little bit more, just play the percentages, right? Just know that if you play 3 aggressive returns, probably one of them is going to be impactful enough for you to win the point. Was this backhand down the line from Tabilo impactful enough for him to win the point? No, because it's long. I mean, this was 100% the correct play, to be honest. I was sure he got this done, but it's actually long, so it's another breakpoint for Berrettini. We'll see if there's any change up in his return strategy here. I mean, maybe he won't even get the chance because obviously Tabilo can just land the first serve this time, which is why these missed opportunities earlier hurt even more, I think, for him. But actually, it is the second serve. Tabilo obviously is going to serve at the Berrettini backhand. This time the return is in play, but Berrettini is on the defense. Think he has recovered by now. Plays pretty deep here. But Tabilo is not afraid of just literally, just playing solid tennis with him here. He's not willing to miss. There's a net court, but it will stay on the Berrettini side of the net. I think that's actually one thing that Tabilo has added to his game this year as well. Like, he literally won't miss if he doesn't want to sometimes, which wasn't really the case for him before. That match against Munar in the Aix-en-Provence final, he was just like out-grinding Jaume Munar, which I don't think it's an avenue that he really ever had before this season, or maybe before the rise last year. But anyway, yeah, he's saved 4 breakpoints now. And I think Matteo floated the backhand return. Yes, indeed. So it's a game point Tabilo. Wow. That could be such a missed opportunity for the Italian here. 7-6, 1 love. He had 4 breakpoints, including 3 consecutive. But is it over? It is. Tabilo finds the line with the backhand cross. 7-6, 1-all. Well, yeah, that could have been the match. That could have been the match right there. And Berrettini just did not take the chance. He was not willing to step up. He was not willing to be a bit more aggressive. He just literally hoped that Tabilo would miss, and he didn't. Not on either occasion, despite not finding his first serves. Breakpoint down. That Martinez Nagal match that Snehid is definitely watching is still in its second set, which is just crazy, especially compared to how quickly Berrettini and Tabilo are progressing through their match. 2 hours and 30 minutes almost, and they're at 5 games all in the second set. So yeah, if it goes 3, it could be one of the longest matches of the year. Who knows? Maybe even the longest match of the season. I mean, I think right now we are at Navone Nadal, right, which ended up at 4 hours. Mute Shang was 3 hours for 59. But of course, for that to potentially become a thing, Sumit Nagal has to win that second set, and he is facing a breakpoint now. Soon enough, we're also going to start with action from Umag and Atlanta. Umag today, I think on the main court, it's going to be Franz Cerundolo against Matej Dodik at first. I definitely recommend watching that match. Hope that Matej can give a good performance. And Atlanta will start at 5 p.m. my time, but of course 11 a.m. local time with O'Connell against Purcell. Chris looking especially for a win anywhere because he was injured recently. Kind of needs something to get back on track. But I think he just overcame that disappointment of the previous game comfortably, I have to say. I mean, he didn't let it get into his head. It's just another rapid fire game from him. Although he is a bit frustrated now going to his bench. I do have to say that. Taylor's retirement. Yeah, Taylor Swift. Is surfing and BMX still in the Olympics? Surfing definitely. BMX, that's like mountains, right? Yeah, I think I'm sure it is. Yeah. Who is the most talented active player over the age of 26 that has never reached the top 300? Holy hell, Keen. I would like to say Durasovic again, but 298 is his career high, so he actually reached the top 300. Also, I don't know if he's even over 26. He might be like 20. No, he probably is over 26 now. Who's the most talented active player over the age of 26 that's never reached the top 300? I don't know. I mean, I will have to look at the ranking list, to be honest, and see if there's anyone that I can come up with off the top of my head. Really, I mean, I thought of Durasovic and I thought of Valkus, who's of course not over 26, and it will actually be an answer to the top 200, which is very important. Doubles review of Wimbledon. That's kind of late, but okay. But plus I look forward to Paris 2024, so sure. Matteo's slice is so cool or effective. For a second, I read Matthews. Is there any player that has a better second serve than a top 500 first serve? BMX, that's like mountains, right? Yeah. Amazing quote. That's true. Fantastic. Is there any player that has a better second serve than a top 500's first serve? I mean, if you look at like Cerundolo or Svchina, right, you'll probably find similarly good second serves, especially out of the giants, if you may. You definitely will, like Opelka, Petri Pericard, and the likes, right? They're definitely better than the Cerundolo or Svchina first serve. Maybe especially Svchina, since he doesn't even have the leftiness. Anyway, Tabilo should be getting this game wrapped up pretty quickly as well. Definitely a contrast to his previous one. I will sort of look at the ranking list a little bit from time to time and see if I find anything in terms of that question about the 26-year-olds. But it's a tough one. I mean, this is one that would require research, I think, and obviously there's not much time right now. Vademursu, no, I don't think so. But he is over 26 and has never reached the top 300. Suddenly playing his best tennis after coming back from a big hiatus. But well, that's story for another day as well, I guess. Anyway, is it going to be that easy, or is Matteo still in this? Nice slices here, but Tabilo tries to go forehand line and he like misses it so long. Gerch would be a good answer, I think, as well, but his career high is also in the top 300, 278 actually. Oh, Pavel Chash, right, Keen? That's my answer, obviously. He might be one of the best ones, actually. I think he definitely has the talent to, like, I don't know, appear in slam qualifying or something like that, but never really, well, either took his career seriously or never really had the chance to take his career seriously, I think. Anyway, Berrettini, wow, what a backhand return down the line. And suddenly from 40 love, we are at deuce. So maybe this won't be an easy game for Tabilo after all. Berrettini is in the rally as well, but yeah, he's backhand pressured by the depth from Tabilo and especially the lefty topspin as well. Yeah, it just won't hold up every single time, and it definitely didn't this time. Actually, Jacopo Berrettini would be a solid answer as well to your question, Keen. I think if he was 26 already, he's 25, but he would be a solid answer, I think. I will probably stop looking at the list when I go to like 600 or something like that. But yeah. Anyway, still in the point though, getting the error with the slice. Not that effective on clay courts, but on the slightly quicker, slicker clay maybe. And he has earned some errors from Tabilo here in this match so far. It's not been that easy for Tabilo to just hit through it every single time. Net court from Tabilo is gonna make it very uncomfortable for Matteo here. Yeah, he's kind of disappointed, but what can you do? He was trying to run around and hit a pass, but that net court just totally stopped him in his tracks, you know. And this put away is going to be in from Tabilo. So 2 games all, but once again, it wasn't easy. We can definitely see that Berrettini is putting more pressure on the Tabilo serve right now than in the previous games, that's for sure. But it hasn't amounted to much. So we are still on serve in the second set. Okay, I will definitely stop looking at these over 300 career high boys in a second. Maybe we'll just get to 600 or something like that. But yeah, I think some of the answers I've given you are pretty solid. It would be a lot easier with 200 probably. I think most of the players who are kind of like obviously talented have gotten to 300 at some point. But with 300, yeah, we could definitely still find a few guys. Yeah, I will probably stop by now. Ribeiro as well now at 6 to 8. That's also a good answer, I think. Eduardo Ribeiro, right? So yeah, I definitely mentioned Ribeiro, Chash. I mentioned someone else as well that I don't remember right now. Well, Durasovic doesn't count, as I said, 298. And I think I mentioned one more player. But anyway, yeah, I will stop that rabbit hole right now and just see what Berrettini is going to do here. There was a deep return from Tabilo that made him land the ball into the net. But he seems to be back on track at 15 all, although this point obviously might be quite consequential. It's just the back of the line that Tabilo hits here. And Matteo will frame the backhand. The Chilean now just like kind of firing himself up. He's, kind of saying to himself, this is the game. This is where you have to go at him and maybe get that first break point of the match. 15-30 now. I'm not sure if Berrettini was in a position like this before. We had a 30 all on Berrettini's serve. I don't remember a 15-30 though. Maybe it happened once or maybe it didn't. Second serve as well. So the chance is getting clearer and clearer. Tabilo is putting slightly more pressure on Berrettini with that return, but it's a hammer inside in from Berrettini to stop that and to get us to 30-all again. Maybe Tabilo was trying to take it even a bit too early. I mean, didn't really have any time for a swing. He just kind of pushed it towards the Berrettini corner, backhand corner, and gave the Italian a lot of time. And the serve is in from Berrettini, so 40-30. Brief moment of uncertainty on his serve here at 15-30, but will he just nip it in the bud and say, no, mate, this is the set when I push you? That will depend on the quality of his second serve here, and Tabilo this time choosing a different strategy. This time it's him going back at the fence, tries to get a deep, heavy forehand in, but no, it's not going to work out. So we are sitting down at 3-2 Berrettini. 4 breakpoints that he already had in this game, or in this set, or 5. And, still nothing. But yeah, we'll see. Not quite halfway into the tiebreak yet. Very interesting about the International Mathematics Olympiad. I've never paid attention to it. I suppose the US probably has a lot of titles there. Am I looking forward to getting my hands on a Talking Tennis microphone windshield? I suppose. I didn't really know that this was going to be a thing, to be honest, but are Gelete and Christian Langmo really as good as the players I mentioned? I don't think so. Of course, that might also depend on your definition of talent, right? Like I think the way you posed the question was the most talented active player, but yeah. So at least according to my definition of talent, no, they are not answers to this question. I think they are pretty run of the mill, if you may. But could they reach the top 300? Of course. I don't think it's out of their reach whatsoever. Maybe Rigoletto is a bit better than Langmo. Nick Chappell, right? Anyway, sorry, Nick Chappell, if you're watching this somehow. 7-6, 3-2, Berrettini, Tabilo serving. The 2 games that he's had this set so far have been pretty tricky, so an easy hold would definitely be good. He is not throwing the ball too well as well. Like the ball toss has been very inconsistent. Lots of them he's hitting from sort of behind his back. It's kind of like an Errani-like technique, so it's normal for him, I know, but this first serve here, like I think he should have just caught it midair. I don't think it was doable to really hit a good serve after that toss. Anyway, he loses the point as well. Not because of the toss, it was just the second serve that wasn't that great, and then he eventually tries to go for too much too early in the rally with the forehand. But yeah, will we get Berrettini applying even more pressure to the Tabilo serve now? Backhand down the line from Berrettini, actually a really good shot here. That's of course a rare direction, a rare switch up from the Italian, who usually doesn't have it in his arsenal. If he did, he would be in the top 5 or something like that. If he did, he would have a slam by now. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch, but it certainly would change his career significantly. But yeah, love 30 now for Berrettini, again putting pressure on the Tabilo serve in the second set. And again, it's also because Tabilo is not getting his first serves in almost whatsoever. Did Berrettini land that forehand cross? He did. Okay, it must have been on the line. Personally, I thought it was going to go out, but maybe on the replay it will become clearer now. Yeah, lots of good topspin on it, actually. That's also not how Matteo usually hits it, to be honest. That whip, that's a good adjustment. So 3 breakpoints now for Berrettini. Once again, he missed a chance exactly like this in the opening game of this set. First point goes to Tabilo. He finally finds the first serve for the first time this game. $15.40. Tabilo is ahead in this point, and I think the Berrettini slice just caught the line. Now it's Berrettini spreading the court with the forehand, and he finds the hammer inside out. Finally, he has a break, and he's just 2 holds away from his 7th win in a row. 7-0 in tiebreaks over the last 2 weeks, and he could be 7-0 in matches as well over the last 2 weeks. He's on fire right now, and he needs just 2 more holds to get this much done. So far hasn't had to save a break point. We see on the replay how close that slice was, but the fact that it landed right on the baseline totally turned this point around. And then once he was ahead, he just slammed a couple of forehands in the same direction. And yeah, he gets that done. 4-2 now. And he will also earn the first point. The Tabilo forehand from, the Tabilo backhand from time to time has looked a bit lacklusterish here, trying to absorb the pace of the Berrettini inside in, which of course just speaks even more about how important it is for Tabilo to be directing most of the shots deep at the Berrettini backhand, to not allow him that time to run around. This could have been a special passing shot from Tabilo. And in fact, he was very close to landing it. But it's fairly love Berrettini now. He's even laughing to himself, the Chilean. He knows how ridiculous that could have been. But of course, a narrow miss is still a miss. Another hammer from Berrettini now inside out. He's really loosened up the last 2 games in terms of his ability to just kill that forehand from the middle of the court. Again, pretty good spin on it too. Of course, he is quite high in terms of forehand spin rate in general, and especially the combination of the pace, but also quite known for literally just hammering his shots sometimes. Deep second serve. Tabilo will fire back with this forehand counter line. Berrettini trying to run around his backhand, and he kind of fell into that trap of just leaving way too much space open in the forehand corner on the right side of the court. But it's 40-15. That mistake will be meaningful or not? Wicked backhand slice here from Berrettini, but he doesn't win the point. Trying to switch to the backhand down the line, this time not as aggressively as in the previous game for love 30. And this time he just nets it without that much energy even directed in the shot. So it's 40-30 now. Really wants to get that game without it getting to deuce and all that potential mess that it could cause. And he will get it. Big serve at the Tabilo forehand corner. It's going to go long, the return. So 5-2 up in the second set. Berrettini so close to wrapping this up and still hasn't faced the breakpoint. Alex Naff is a good answer, but is he 26 already, actually? I mean, he finished college 2 years ago, maybe. But yeah, I'm on board with Alex Naff for sure. I think he should be getting better results than he is. Loved him last year in Kozarki, when he, I think, beat someone and lost to Vesely in the qualifying, maybe. Who did he beat, though? I don't remember. Oh yeah, he is 26 already. Okay, yeah. I'm on board with Alex now. When does this Olympic tennis nonsense kick off? It's on Saturday. It's not round robin. No. Olympic tennis kicks off on Saturday. Bakshi, he's okay in these challengers, but I don't know. I mean, he's not getting any ITF traction really. I don't know if he's as good as the occasional performances that we saw from him, but maybe. Tabilo is cooked. He needed the first sets. Do you mean cooked in terms of like physically? I mean, he's playing his first match of the week, first match since Wimbledon even. But if you're saying just cooked in terms of done, then kinda. The second set has been a nightmare for him. Just every single game on serve has been a struggle suddenly, because that was not the case at all in the first set. And yeah, so close to the Berrettini win right now, but you still have to get over the line. 7-6, 5-2, Berrettini looking for his 7th straight win after getting Gstaad done and after winning in the first round here against Pavel Kotov yesterday. Of course, this event runs on a on a, let's say, Monday-Saturday schedule, which makes it a bit tougher to go back-to-back at this one because you only get one day of rest, and that was Monday for Berrettini. But so far, he's doing okay physically, and as I mentioned, his draw opens up a bit. I mean, Moreno de Alboran in the quarters doesn't sound too bad. Semis, Sabov, Wild, Hanfmann, more dangerous, but still not awful. I mean, it's still not... I don't even know who's that good in this event, to be honest. Baez, Echeverri withdrew. Maybe Tabilo is the best player in this event, actually, other than Berrettini. So, yeah, I think that's fair to say. So, this really could be a draw opening win for Berrettini if he can close it out. Yeah, I think we could say that Tabilo is the best player of the event outside of Berrettini. Who's the number 4 seed? I'm forgetting. Oh, Pedro Martinez. Yeah, I guess. Although I'm not sure how that second set ended. Snehir has been out of the chat for a while now, or maybe he's still listening, but just hasn't been posting. But last time I checked, Martinez was getting pretty close to the win, and in fact, he did get over the line against Sumit Nagal in 2 sets, 7-5, 7-5. I think I'll have to check, but I think it was 7-5 as well in the second set. Very long 2-set match, but the 2021 runner-up survives. We also have the 2020 runner-up in Yannick Hanfmann in the quarterfinals already. Berrettini only played Kitzbühel once in 2018 and made the quarterfinals, where interestingly he was also coming off the Gstaad title. So it's not the first time he's trying to do this European altitude clay double. And well, the first easy service game of Tabilo in the second set, but will it matter as now Matteo Berrettini is serving for the win. He wants to get that 7th win on the board, 7-6, 5-3. Can he serve it out? Hasn't faced a breakpoint thus far. Ooh, that was a tough smash. You could see that Matteo isn't setting up for it well. He was way too much sort of onto the ball. And yeah, just 2 steps left maybe, and it would have been a bit easier, but still a tough one baseline. Maybe could have just played a forehand out of this. Love 15 anyway. We'll see if any potential shot decision-making mishaps are going to be happening to him in this game. But, well, serve out wide, ace will help. But now Tabilo pushes him wide to the forehand corner with the backhand cross. I like that flat strike that he has there. Maybe hasn't been using it too much in this matchup, but obviously this is a different player that he's facing sort of in terms of how forehand reliant he is. So maybe that pattern doesn't really show up. You still don't want to be playing to the forehand corner. But here we could see that, he still can rush the Berrettini forehand when he goes like that. It's kind of similar to the flat backhand of Barrios Vera, I think, for example. And we're going to get the first 2 breakpoints of the match for Tabilo, as Berrettini narrowly misses this +1 forehand. So yeah, suddenly that game when he can serve it out, it's not that easy. Second serve as well. Tabilo hitting a deep return, but is it just wide or is it in? I think it's gonna be checked probably. No, but based on Tabilo's reaction, I think he knows it's out. Yeah, I was trying to loop it very deep into the middle of the court. Oh, wait, actually, no. It was called out by the line umpire, but it's actually in. So we're gonna replay. That's why he's so frustrated. I mean, yeah, this was the point for him right there. This was the break. I don't think Berrettini would have handled that return landing on the baseline. But again, it's the second serve. I mean, Tabilo kind of gets a second chance to roll at it. But this could be very important call if he loses this game. Let's see. I mean, he still gets these two cracks, and the Berrettini forehand here is super short. He will also net the backhand, so it's 5-4 now. Tabilo breaks for the first time in this match. Tabilo breaks. Unexpected twists, but honestly, kind of a weak game from Berrettini as well, right? Just a couple of random errors he wasn't making before. The only point he won was an ace. So still, maybe there's still a lot more intrigue left in this matchup. All right. Maybe this is where it starts. Do I think Menchik Darderi is going to be a good match? I mean, why wouldn't it be, right? Two incredibly talented youngsters. I don't see why not. The Poland have a good junior setup. Is that how Igan who became through? That is not how Igan who became through. They are not really the success of the Polish Federation, but it's getting better. It's gotten a lot better since. But yeah, the success of like Świątek, Hurkacz, Linet, especially the Świątek team is always very intent on saying that they don't really they didn't really get that much from the Polish Federation, which I don't think is technically true. I mean, she was driving around all of these like European Davis Cup, well, not Davis Cup. I mean, I don't remember how it's called in juniors, but like all these team cups, basically. She was playing for Poland there, and then definitely got a lot of experience there, and had her hotels and stuff funded. So it's not like the Polish Federation was not involved in her success, but I wouldn't say that Świątek and Hurkacz are particularly like, something that we are responsible for as a tennis federation. It's honestly pure luck. It wasn't really something that was brought up by a good junior system. It's getting better. It's for sure getting better. Like the depth we have in pro tennis right now is so much stronger than literally any time ever before. So yeah, I think it's gotten a lot better. There was a bit of a delay here. Tabilo, not sure if this Berrettini forehand was called out, but it's definitely out, especially when we look at the replay. After that unexpected twist in the last game, we'll see how much is still left in this one. Is it true that Wimbledon accepts 200,000 fewer fans every year than the other slams? I actually did not ever see these stats, so I can't tell you right now. Could be. I think the grounds are definitely a little smaller in terms of the outside courts than they are in New York or Melbourne, especially there. Probably can't afford a hotel. I mean, we are talking about when she was like 14, and stuff like that. We are talking about literally her junior days when, of course, that money from the Polish Federation was still a thing. But yeah, sometimes the Świątek team and her are kind of very intent on saying that they don't really like they really aren't a product of the Polish schooling system, or whatever, of the Polish junior system. And it's true to an extent. I think sometimes they're exaggerating it as well. But yeah, I would not say that the Świątek Hurkacz Linet success is in any way a success of the Polish Federation. It was kind of just blind luck. But because of that blind luck, we got a sort of big boom on tennis in Poland. And because of that, everything else is improving. So the sort of cause and effect relationship there is a little bit backwards. But yeah, because of that, we have good depth right now. Perhaps, even because of Radwańska actually first up, but Janowicz as well. But yeah, I would say that Świątek Hurkacz, like, that's still not really that era when the junior system was already pretty decent. It's decent right now, or at least it's getting better. We're not the Czech Republic, but it's getting better. 5 games all now, and yeah, Tabilo suddenly breaking back at 3-5, and now he's back in it. Maybe Berrettini will have to win yet another tiebreak to survive here. Maybe simply Berrettini is destined to play tiebreaks in Kitzbühel. Maybe every single set he's going to play is going to be a tiebreak. This is completely random, but just 2 days ago, I was thinking about this Berrettini Travaglia match from Rome years back, and I think it was actually 7-6, 5-3. Berrettini was serving for the match, and then they got to a tiebreak, and he still won 7-6, 7-6. As I said, it's completely random, but maybe he's going to win it the same, or maybe it's actually going to be Tabilo getting us to the third set, especially if Berrettini's forehand is just going to be so wild right now. These are errors he was not really making until 5-3. Especially when he loosened up so much in the 2 games from 3-2 to 5-2, right? That was Berrettini's best patch of the match, and it suddenly disappeared. It suddenly he disconnected it at some point. But that's a nice ace down the tee. He really needs something right now to stop the rut, to stop the streak of games for Tabilo. Just make sure he's still on top ahead of the tiebreak. Tabilo seems to be really intent on extending the points right now, and it's all working. He's making Berrettini hit a lot of good shots to claim a point right now. And yeah, he's gonna get this one. Sure. I was mentioning earlier that the Tabilo backhand is not always holding up when he's trying to just absorb with it, but he actually landed a couple of very good shots here. Especially that one slice was it seems like it would just float out, but it lands in. He fires a big counter cross court as well of the backhand. And the squash shot from Berrettini is going to be long. So 15-30 now. How quickly has this match turned? And has it turned fully? Is Tabilo going to claim this game? That's the most important thing that's the most important part of it right now. Is it just a complete turnaround, or is it just a brief interruption in what was a relatively comfortable, somewhat comfortable win for Berrettini up until a certain point, or this was looking like a somewhat comfortable win for Berrettini up until some point. But now Tabilo misses a backhand line. That's brutal. It was not an easy shot at all. Obviously you can expect to miss that, but he's been redlining the last 5-10 minutes, and this could be a costly one. This could have gotten him 2 break points. And it was close to the line. It was not a bad effort at all. He's still in the next rally, though, and he's got Berrettini on the back foot. Matteo has gotten a little bit worse the last few minutes at defending that backhand corner, that's for sure. What is he doing now? Is he gonna just change the racket? Maybe he broke a string, I don't know. But yeah, it's a breakpoint for Tabilo up until 5-3. Berrettini did not have to save even a single breakpoint in this match. Yeah, he did break a string. We see it on the close-up now. I still don't think I mean, he probably wouldn't have made the shot anyway, or maybe he would have. Who knows? But anyway, breakpoint Berrettini. Breakpoint Tabilo, I mean, on the Berrettini serve. It's a big serve, but he still gets the return in play. Berrettini will need to win the rally somehow. And right now it's not easy against Tabilo, because the Chilean is kind of at the peak of his powers the last few minutes. But he floats that forehand topspin. Ay, 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 ay. This is a costly error again. I guess, in a way, this is also brought up by the Berrettini slice here. Certainly wasn't the easiest ball to play. He was just trying to loop it. But yeah, he lands it out. 5 games all, deuce. Up until 5-3 in the second set, Berrettini never had to save a breakpoint. Then he loses the game when he's trying to serve it out 2-15. And now he saves another break. Now he actually saves a breakpoint for the first time in this match, right? To try to get him to 6-5, secure another tiebreak, and try to win it over the next 2 games, either by breaking Tabilo or by claiming an 8th tiebreak in 2 weeks. He's won his last 7 tiebreaks since losing 3 to Yannick Sinner at Wimbledon. 6-5? Yes. It is 6-5 Berrettini. One more chance to break Tabilo before getting into yet another tiebreak with him. Italy, Czech Republic. I think these are the answers to your question about any system in the tennis world doing development well. In the Czech Republic, we even have this event this week, the Pardubická Juniorka, which is like a Czech national event for juniors, and it's actually very high quality, especially if we get a Kumstad Mrva final on the men's side. And there are these 2 sisters on the, well, I guess girls side as well, who are kind of dominant. But yeah, I think the Czechs are doing the development right, clearly. Italy as well. And that's probably the kind of the end of the obvious answers. But I suppose if we, well, these are the headline ones, but there are probably more countries, but we just don't know that much about the way they handle this stuff and the way they finance the most promising juniors. 6-5 Berrettini, Tabilo serving to stay in the match for the, well, I guess already 3rd time, because he had to do it at 5-2, he had to do it at 5-4, now he has to do it at 6-5, and also, of course, had to break Berrettini right back when he was 3-5 down. So it's been a good survival performance from Tabilo, definitely. And let's see if that ability to survive will remain with him in the last game of the, well, and potentially the last game of the match and also the tiebreak. If it does and it goes free, things will be very open. And considering Berrettini's potential fatigue coming off the Gstaad title, I think Tabilo would like his chances in a potential decider. Did he land that backhand cross? This is actually pretty important, and I think he did. Let's see it. They're going to show us a replay before the scoreboard, but I think he did. Yeah, Berrettini looking at the mark for a while, but clearly in from the Chilean, so he's 30 love up. This could make the Berrettini tiebreak narrative even stronger if he wins it in another one, but he might also lose one. Although, not quite yet. Let's not count the chickens before they hatch. As Tabilo misses the backhand cross this time. This time the angle that he was trying to go for was even sharper. And honestly, not too high margin. Barbara Schett watching this match in the stands. Of course, formerly a great player from Austria, now a tennis TV expert. And another flat backhand from Tabilo cross-court into the Berrettini forehand. It's a pattern that we've been seeing a little bit more over the last 2-3 games, I would say. Or maybe even more, maybe the last 4 or 5. And while you don't want to be playing through the Berrettini forehand, when you do it with that sort of snap, when you do it with that pace, yeah, then it can work. And it's a tiebreak. Again, will it be an 8th tiebreak in a row won by Matteo Berrettini over the last 2 weeks? Or are we going free? Is the question. That should be a let call here from the umpire, and it is. Someone honking outside my window. Not sure if you heard that. You probably did not hear that Berrettini us, as they are saying on the banner. Of course, us in German means ace, which is pretty funny for English speakers or for literally anyone in the world, as I think at this stage probably anyone in the world knows that what us means in English. But yeah, it is an us down the T to kick us off in the second set tiebreak. But of course, Mr. Alejandro Tabilo has a lot of good serves up his sleeve as well. Last tiebreak that they played, of course, the first set here, that was literally just one mini break. That was literally Tabilo double faulting at 4 games all. That just made it impossible for him to win this one. So he will be definitely quite cautious here to avoid a similar error. Has he made the backhand cross? I think he has. They are still in the rally though. Berrettini this time absorbing pace on his forehand pretty well. Who's gonna make the first error? I mean, obviously there's only one error really in a rally, unless it's not a point-ending error and it's just like a slight tactical mess up or something like that. But yeah, it's still going. I'm pretty sure it's the longest rally of the match, and eventually it's gonna be Tabilo winning it. That loopy forehand from Matteo landing on the line, but it's not good enough, and Tabilo is just gonna slam the backhand down the line here and get the error on the slice from Berrettini. Again, good depth, and it's enough for Berrettini to not be able to produce the whole swing. 2-1 Tabilo, still no mini breaks in the second set tiebreak. Does feel like the last 10-15 minutes Tabilo has had the upper hand of the ground, but will it mean much? Lots can depend on the quality of the Berrettini serving. Of course, the first point of this tiebreak, he landed an ace. What will he do this time? Well, he hits another one. If he's just acing or assing, as I said every single time, then what would a half ass be then? If you're half assing something, I don't know. Would it be an unreturned serve? I guess a half ass would be an unreturned serve, yeah. Good to know. And it's another ace. That's just unplayable from Berrettini. 3 points and 3 aces in the second set tiebreak. Tabilo is like, what can I do? And indeed, the question is, what can you actually do when the other player is just finding serves like this on literally every point? 3-2 Berrettini, and Tabilo once again has to be extremely cautious with his serving here. It's a good chip return from Matteo, and he will get the point. That's kind of deserved, I have to say. That's probably the best chip return he played the entire match. His tiebreak has been a bit of a blinder from him. I mean, he lost that super long rally and also lost a point where Tabilo just hit a serve that was too good. But otherwise, it's 3 aces and this great chip return, which, yeah, gets him the point. Of course, the long rally, it was just like Tabilo was super strong there up until the end. Otherwise, he easily could have won that. But yeah, I like this for sure. He's doing very well so far. 4-2 Berrettini with a mini break. One more serve for Tabilo right now. Of course, we also have Diaz, Acosta, and Galan already playing in Kitzbühel. We'll see if this match goes free. Then I will probably mention something about their match as well. I will have to plug my battery right now in the tiebreak. That's good timing from my computer, I have to say. But I will get to it in time, hopefully. And yeah, I get to it in time to watch a backhand rally. It's a net court from Tabilo, and Berrettini really should be capitalizing on this. And he has. He finds the corner with the forehand. Honestly, a bit too close for comfort, but sure, he made it. Unless it was just the scoreboard that kind of didn't let me see it. Yeah, it was a bit too close for comfort. It did not need to be that close, but to the line. But it's not a big deal, of course, at this stage. The most important thing for him is that he did get it done. And he is 5-2 with 2 serves here, trying to secure that match once again. Of course, he was already 5-3 up. Is this a bigger lead than being 5-3 up in the second set? It kind of might be, right? I mean, you only need to get 1 point on your serve to get a 6-3 lead and 3 set points in a row. So he's actually closer, I think, to winning the match than when it was 5-2 up in the second set, in a way. But he will not get the first point. Tabilo with a backhand down the line, forcing the error. Lovely stuff from the Chilean here. Really firing that shot now. Needs to be here for this us discussion. Yeah, he does. Oh, you watched Berrettini live in Gstaad. That's really nice. Does the LTA have anything to do with the Maoris because they carried British tennis? No, definitely not. With Draper, though. I mean, his dad was like a LTA president or something like that. Anyway, 5-3 Matteo fires the serve, but Tabilo somehow survives. And if he is to claim this point, but I just said he was brave enough to go for that backhand line right on the previous point. It would be unfair for me right now to say that, oh no, I mean, why did he go for the forehand as well? One time it clicked, one time it didn't, right? It is what it is. 3 match points Berrettini anyway. It was a miraculous escape from Tabilo on the first few points of this rally, on the first few shots of this rally, I have to say. But yeah, in the end, he actually doesn't end up surviving it. So it's 3 match points now after 1 hour and 47 minutes. We got to the match points. First one is saved by Tabilo, hitting a good serve at the Berrettini forehand and getting the return error. Another serve from Tabilo here, down the tee. Berrettini gets the return in play, but it's not too good. Tabilo is definitely on the attack here. Has to play a backhand drive, kind of like the Djokovic one at Wimbledon that he missed against Alcaraz. A little easier though, and he lands it. So it's 1 more match point only for Berrettini, but this is the one that he will have on his own serve. This is the most important one. I don't know. I mean, Tabilo has been pretty good when he's trying to just survive, literally. So maybe, somehow, maybe he can still keep himself in this. But yeah, is Berrettini going to win his 7th match in a row and 8th tiebreak in a row? That's the question at the moment. It's a huge serve. Will the return be out? Yes. Again, he goes out wide at the Tabilo forehand. That has been a very good direction so far. So far, not only so far because the match is actually over, but a very good direction for him today for sure. In general, a solid performance. I mean, if he claimed it at 5-3, I would have called it a great performance, but well, it happened. Tabilo played pretty solid, and Matteo had his worst service game of the match at 5-3. Good for him that he recovered from that breakpoint at 6-5 as well. Sorry, at 5-all, because that could have been a real problem if they went free. Obviously, Matteo also wants to conserve his energy a little bit in Kitzbühel this week because he's coming off that Gstaad title, and so far when he was trying to go back to back this year, it wasn't like bed of roses. So I think it's extra important for him to not go free here, even if he was going to win the match maybe eventually, but no certainty at all, given that Tabilo was also playing and serving well. Eventually, Berrettini actually hits 15 aces to Tabilo's 7, so the Chilean did sort of drop it after the first set, drop that great pace of hitting aces. In the end, probably the better player won, but it got tricky. It got tricky at the end. So not that easy for Berrettini. But yeah, the streak is now pretty insane. 8 tiebreaks in a row, 7 matches in a row. It's impressive. Let's see how far he can go. Next round against Moreno de Alboran tomorrow. Obviously, Matteo is the big favorite. Sabov Wiltor Hanfman in the semis. He will also have his chances. Hello, John.
Hi, Damien. I'm just here just to say nothing really, other than the fact that I can end the stream.
Yeah, sure. I was about to say that you can end the stream basically when I stop my rant. Well, actually, not even a rant, but when I stop talking about the further potential opponents in the Berrettini draw. I think we can end it now. 7-6, 7-6. Another good win. Another couple of tiebreaks won. What else?
I felt it. By the way, just quickly, it did feel inevitable in a way from 6-all in the first set. Like, I don't know. As soon as it went to a tiebreak,
but it stopped being inevitable when he was forced to save a breakpoint at 5-all, right?
Yeah, but also, true. That's true. And also, I know he got broken back after having that advantage, and normally that would mean, like in a player A plays player B scenario, you would think that the person who broke back would have an advantage. But I still felt with Mateo's recent form, I was also thinking about Hubie Hurkacz and how often he's in tiebreaks, and how often Matteo is, and yet Hubie Hurkacz can play a million tiebreaks and he's still not winning. What's his percentage in tiebreaks, more or less? 50, 60%?
I mean, 60 would be really good. I think last year for large chunks of the season, it was even below 50%. Ivo Karlovic, for example, is a good example. Is a good example as well because he was under 50% for his entire career, actually. And that's another huge server, right? Who plays a lot of tiebreaks, but he was actually sub 50. I'm not sure what Hurkacz's performance is right now, but I in tiebreaks, I don't think it's a 60. But when Tabilo had a breakpoint at 5 games all in the second set, that was an actual problem. Like that was Berrettini could have gone free easily there. They're showing the pink hat. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, because I'm packing right now. I'm packing.
Oh, right, because you're getting there a bit earlier, I suppose. I don't know where my pink hat is actually.
Well, make sure you got it by next week.
I will try. Yeah.
All right. We might be getting in trouble with the Porto Mafia, though. I mean, who knows? As you say, we might get sniped. Is that a verb? To
sniped? Yeah. Why not?
I guess so. I mean, the sniper, I know, but to be sniped.
I think it is a verb.
Well, we'll think about that in the coming days. All right, you'll see Gokap and maybe me as well tomorrow. I think regarding, it's like we're having an editorial discussion on air, but it doesn't matter because I want people to know about this. I think we'll just probably go live the second the draw comes out. And my concern is even more than Wimbledon or French Open or whatever else, is that it's the Olympics, and who knows? They might be delayed. They might do a ceremony. They probably won't do a ceremony. Certainly not a live one anyway. I think they'll just publish it, but there's no guarantees they'll just publish it at 11 a.m.
Yeah, there's no guarantee when they will publish it because it might be that they're just gonna do it at 11 a.m. behind closed doors, and it's kind of a complicated system. So it might be more like 11:30. I really have no clue.
So
I
my
don't
thought
remember
is
what
just
the
as
precedent
soon
was.
as that draw drops on, I mean, I'm actually in a WhatsApp group with a bunch of journalists who are there. I'm not obviously accredited, but I've just been invited to the WhatsApp group. So as soon as the draw drops, we'll sort of press the 30-second countdown and go live, you and Gokal.
Yeah.
All right. See you tomorrow.
See you.
Ciao.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.